Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live, and this week's roundup of organ recitals, which we have coming to you from San Diego, all the way to Moscow in Russia, and it's going to include a very interesting organ piano duo, which we don't hear so often these days. It will also include a piece by Franz Liszt, which I have not heard before and which I'm really looking forward to hearing about. Before we go any further, let me remind you, like this video if you're watching on Facebook. Click the subscribe button underneath the video box if you're watching on YouTube, or please follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads, where we are also present. We promise you, if you do, we will get you more than 1,000 live links to live performances online in 2025. Now let's get on to what we have to offer you this week in terms of organ recital live streams. The first of them coming at you, it's a debutante of sorts, a young man who's still in school. Tuesday, January 21st at lunchtime in Toronto, Ontario. That's today. St. James Cathedral live streams University of Toronto student Emmanuel Wong playing its more than 5,000 pipe organ. The Emmanuel Wong will receive his Bachelor of Music in 2027. At the University of Toronto in interdisciplinary music studies, focusing on the organ. I wasn't able to dig up a picture of Emmanuel. It was difficult to get any more information about him. And the folks at St. James Cathedral never give us the program of what they're playing in advance. I can show you that somewhat impressive organ that they have, which the young Emmanuel Wong will have the pleasure of playing. It has 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops over 4 manuals and 6 divisions, 5,101 pipes. The original organ was built by S.R. Warren way back in 1863. It was rebuilt by Cassavant Frères in 1936, 1966, 67, and in 1976 it was rebuilt again with additions to it by L.I. Phelps and Associates. So that will be later today. Let me get, did I give you the precise times? No, I didn't. That'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time, which will be 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast and 7 in the evening here in Europe. So in about an hour and a half, because it's almost 5:30 at the end of the day here in Europe. I'm in Paris, France these days. Eat your hearts out. Anyway, so that's that. Now let's then move on to a couple of, this is progressively, we're going to get to heavier hitters tomorrow. Let me cue up who I have for you next. Samuel Ali. Wednesday, January 22nd at lunchtime in London, the Temple Church live streamed Samuel Ali on its 4-manual Glenn Tanner, Harrison & Harrison organ with the 3 32-feet stops. That's Wednesday at 2 o'clock European time, 8 in the morning on the U.S. East Coast. We will give you, as always, the links to the organ specifications, as well as the link to their YouTube page. Samuel Ali, since April of 2024, this past year, is the principal organist at St. Cuthbert's Church in Earl's Court, London, which is the neighborhood where I first stayed the first time I visited London so many decades ago. I won't even tell you how long it was. And then I ran into my favorite history professor there, just walking down the street. What are you doing here, Mr. Faval? Anyway, that was thrilling. But those kind of things happen the first time you go to London. Anyway, the information about him refers to the famous Hunter organ at St. Cuthbert's Church in Earl's Court, but I don't have time to go into that here, although I will tell you about the organ at the Temple Church. He's also the associate organist at St. Pancras Old Church. He's the college organist at the Haileybury School. This guy's working a lot. He has done solo performances. When I looked him up, I saw they were all over the place in the UK, in Paris, Moscow, and Slovakia. He also accompanies, or had been accompanying it since 2021, the Streatham Choral in London. He studied organ performance at the Royal College of Music. For those of you who want to know with whom, because some real organ specialists want to know, studied with David Graham, Sophie Veronique, Josepher Chopin, and Andy Dewar. Before that, he was at the Royal Northern College of Music, and he was, for a time, the organ scholar at Rochester Cathedral. I will show you the organ that this is another young man getting to play, but not as young as some of the others. Here is the Temple Church organ manual, and there's the pipework above it. This is a Harrison organ built and installed in 1954. It's a 4-manual organ, and as I said in my intro, it has 3 32-feet stops, which they brag about. Now, this arrived by rail from Scotland, so it was built in Scotland in 1953. It had been built for a ballroom up there way back in 1927, and the inaugural recital was played by Marcel Dupré, of all people. But since then, it's been under the care of Harrison and Harrison. They did various kinds of modernization, including installing the modern piston system in 2000. They practically dismantled the whole thing and did a complete overhaul in 2012, 2013. So that's all you need to know and all you get to know about it. Once again, they have not given us the program for what he's going to be playing. When I went online, I found a number of different kinds of photos of Kevin Bowyer, excuse me. But when you get a chance to enjoy one of the truly great organists of recent decades, it promises not to be a routine experience. Not if you're an organ enthusiast or an aficionado. Wednesday lunchtime in the UK, the Glasgow University Chapel live streams the highly accomplished, highly prolific Kevin Bowyer on its Henry Willis III / Harrison and Harrison organ. When I went looking, I found a variety of photos of Kevin Bowyer, but this one seems to be the one that's most contemporary. He's much better groomed than some of the early ones, with the beard clipped shorter, and some of the earlier than that, he doesn't have them at all. This guy, let me give you a little bit of his bio. Kevin Bowyer was at the Royal Academy of Music back in 1979 and 1982. Now, while he was still a student, we are told he performed the complete organ symphonies of Charles Marie Widor, Louis Vierne, and Marcel Dupré. I mean, these are 3 of the greats of the French, the great silver age of the organ. He has over, and he also played all the organ music of Olivier Messiaen. So he just did all the French. He has over 90 recordings to his name, including all of Bach's organ music on the Nimbus recording label. His recital repertoire goes far beyond all of these things. There was an article about talking to him about the 20th century classical music for the organ, and he mentions in it over 100 composers whose music he has played. So getting to hear this guy live, and not just another canned dead recording, but be able to enjoy him while he's doing it, I think it's a great occasion for those of you who are real organ lovers. The chapel organ was built by Henry Willis III in 1927. Sorry, my computer, I bumped my computer. And was most recently refurbished by Harrison and Harrison. Let me show you an image of the organ that he'll be playing. I think I only have the pipe work of it. Yeah, I don't have the manual. There you go. There it is on site. And it was, yeah, as I said, it was refurbished by Harrison and Harrison in 2005. As far as I know, it has not been refurbished since then. If you really love the organ, you don't want to miss a chance to enjoy Kevin Bowyer live. Okay, now we get to move on to what I think is going to be a highly interesting live stream, also on Wednesday. So you've got 3 events on Wednesday that you can tune into, any one of the 3. This is a cornucopia of organ live streams going on Wednesday with the Temple Church London, then the Glasgow University Chapel with Kevin Bowyer, and now this one coming from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Let me do a proper announcement of it for you. I need to do these on a regular basis so that we can then do clips, 20-second clips, which can then be separate clips on Facebook. And some people don't watch more than 20 seconds. Artbene live streams an unusual organ piano duel on Wednesday, January 22nd at 6 p.m. European time with the distinguished Russian organist and professor of organ Alexander Fiseisky and Anna Magergut on the piano. There. How was that for an announcement? I thought it was all right. Anyway, who is Alexander Fiseisky? He is the professor of organ at the esteemed Gnesen Russian Academy of Music, which is sort of the Russian Academy of Music. I don't have much information about Anna Magergut, who will be on the piano, and we don't have a lot of detail. Well, we have the list of the music they're going to be playing, and this is at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. And they always just give you a list. They don't give you like a programmatic thing. So it includes Bach, Handel, Mendelssohn, Pönitz, Brahms, Franck, that's César Franck, for those of you who don't know, Lohr and Boelmann. But it also includes Karg Ellert. Now, we're told that in the 19th century, duets like this, piano organ duets, were common. Usually or often with a harmonium, which is a little smaller version of an organ. So what they're going to be doing is playing classic organ music by Bach and Brahms, but they will also be playing compositions by this German composer, Karg Ellert, which were composed for an organ piano duet. Fiseisky is no one to sneeze at. He's like the real deal in terms of, he could be considered the top organist in Russia. And I can show you a bit of the pipe work. I don't have a lot of detail that I can tell you about this organ, except it is a 4-manual organ, and it was imported to Moscow, donated to the the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow by a Protestant cathedral in Switzerland back in 2002. Everything except its one longest pipe, and that was subsequently eventually an identical version was made in Russia and installed with it. So there's an interesting story to it. Actually, it was installed free of charge by a German organ company, and at no charge. And the owner of the company died in the process of the installation, and his son took over and finished the work. Anyway, that I commend to you as an interesting variation on your usual organ recital. Okay, after this, well, now we come up with, after doing something very unusual, we come up with the familiar face of Canon Martin Green. Okay, so Canon Martin Green is one of the most articulate and engaging organists I know of when it comes to explaining what he's playing and why, and doing so in terms which are very interesting. They're musically enlightening, but they do not leave us all behind in a cloud of musicological dust. He's a heck of a guy. Let me show you the organ that he gets to play on and work with. He very often has what seems like a very young boy, like a 10-year-old boy, turning pages for him, and I have the suspicion that it's his son. There's the organ. It's a 4-manual organ. I can tell you a little bit about it. It's one of the oldest. It is the oldest organ in the region of San Diego. Rebuilt in 1969 by Aeolian Skinner, the last of their installations west of the Mississippi, but then had a complete rebuild again by Quimby Pipe Organs in 2012, Opus 68. So they weren't kidding around. It has 4 manuals, 98 stops, 86 ranks, 115 draw knobs, and 4,933 pipes. And what is Martin Green going to be playing? I have no idea. They almost never tell us in advance what he's going to be playing. But let me give you the details on when this is. This is Friday, January 24th at 1 in the afternoon on Pacific Standard Time. Canon Martin Green will be back with the weekly organ recital at St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego. Show up or blow up. We'll give you the link to the organ and to their YouTube streaming page, and also to the specifications of the organ. And now we come to the grand finale. That's something that I'm very happy about, and I think you'll see why as I get around to telling you more about it. There's the actual announcement from St. Eustache Cathedral. They do one every week, and that's Thomas Ospital there on the right-hand side. He's one of the resident organists at St. Eustache Cathedral. He's also a professor of organ at the esteemed Paris Conservatoire Supérieur. So he's a top dog, and sometimes the organists they bring in to play at St. Eustache Church are students of Thomas Ospital. Let me do an announcement for you. Thomas Ospital at St. Eustache Church has a special treat in store at this Sunday's organ recital at St. Let me do that again because I said St. Eustache Church twice. I'm sorry, but I have to clip these out for reels on Facebook. Thomas Ospital at St. Eustache Church has a special treat in store at this Sunday's organ recital, especially for anyone who loves the music of Franz Liszt. That's at 5 p.m. European time, 11 a.m. on the U.S. East Coast. So why am I so excited about Thomas Ospital? Because he's playing this piece by Franz Liszt. And I want to show you the photo of the first publication of it. Wow. This is Franz Liszt, a piece based on Ad nos ad salutarum undam. It's a fantasy and fugue based on a chorale called Ad nos ad salutare undam, a chorale in Act 1 of Giacomo Meyerbeer's opera Le Prophète, The Prophet, and it's dedicated to Meyerbeer. Now, you need to understand that The Prophet was hugely popular in the 19th century and even into the beginning of the 20th century. I did a theater piece based on Hjalmar Söderberg's wonderful revolutionary novel, Dr. Glass. And in it, there were, and it's filled with references to popular music to really underscore and accentuate certain points. It's almost operatic the way that novel, which I commend to you, refers to music. And among the pieces referred to it is a piece from The Prophet to illustrate a moment of absolute triumph on the part of Dr. Glass, a very humorous, triumphant moment in the story, which does not end very humorously at all. It's one I identify with a great deal. It was first premiered October 29th, 1852. He then revised it. So he tinkered with it a bit, and a revised version was premiered in 1855. and it was first published by Breitkopf and Hertel. If you want the details, I think that's in the picture, in 1852. Now, it also got published as the fourth piece of Liszt operatic fantasy Illustration du Prophète, illustrations of the prophet. And Liszt liked it so much that he also created a piano duet version of it. So this was something that was near and dear to Franz Liszt's heart, and he tinkered with it. He came up with various versions of it, and it was based on a beloved opera of the time. Here's the organ manual, the organ keyboard, the five manual organ, and the magnificent pipework above it. When you're at these concerts, at which hundreds of people attend, I'm there. Now that I'm in Paris, I'm there every Sunday for these concerts, and if you tune in, I do a little live stream walking you into the concert, and then I do a little recap after the concert, so you can actually see what it's like to be there, on the occasion. And what was I saying? So anyway, you see these hundreds of people there. You see the ceiling, which is like 5 stories high, and when we're all sitting around the organist, and then up to our left, up above us, is the pipework. So we're sort of like between the two. It's a magnificent experience in person. But I will tell you that when you watch the live stream, you get to see close-ups of the organist's hands and feet that we don't get to see in person. So there's an advantage to it. This organ is a Van den Heuvel organ. Technically, it's the equivalent of the one at the Cathedral of Notre Dame that they made such a fuss about a few weeks ago. It has 101 stops. It has 5 manuals. It has 7,952 pipes, just like at Notre Dame. Problem? It needs a renovation, and it needs renovation badly. So at the beginning of their live streams, they are now running a 5-minute French language description in detail of the renovation that they need to do, and how much money they need to raise, and how you can have a pipe at St. Eustache Church named after you. Now, if you're a real organ lover, this might be something you want to do, or if you're just a real Paris lover, or if there's someone who loves Paris, you might want to do that. No, I have been in touch with Thomas, and we've talked about, I'd like to do an English language interview with him on the same subject, so you can get all the straight dope about it and find out all the details of that organ and what the renovation needs, which is a fascinating subject, and what they're going to do, and also how you could have a pipe named after yourself or someone you love in the heart of Paris. All right, that's what we have for this week. I want to remind you again, if you're watching this video on Facebook, click the like button, and we will automatically then send you an invitation to follow us. We need more followers so that one day we may be able to monetize. This has become a full-time job for me. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the subscribe button at the bottom, or follow us and subscribe to us on our other 4 platforms: X, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. And we will love you for it, and we will give you in return live links to more than 1,000 live streams of live performances online in 2021. Ciao for now. I will be back in about 45 minutes with the roundup of orchestral works. If those of you who are watching now, if you care to tune back in, then you can find out about all the orchestral stuff that's going on between now and